Good morning. My name is Erin Gall, and I'm the chair of the Small Business Committee with the Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce. And we're here this morning to celebrate Javelin Guilford with the Secret Garden 2 for Small Business of the Month for September of 2020. And we are so excited to finally be here with them. We had voted some time ago on our small businesses, but there was a bit of a delay with coronavirus. So we're excited to highlight Javelin and Secret Garden 2 here at 115 Tarboro Street, previously known as the Five Points District in downtown, and it will be again, as we know. Javelin's been a chamber member for about 3 years now, and at this location for about the same time. He also has a warehouse facility. He's a wonderful florist, interior designer, and just brings creations out of life. So thank you for your beautiful creations.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about why you decided to come to Rocky Mount.
I decided to come to Rocky Mount because I moved here in 1996. I worked for Otis Jordan at Color Dimension Florist. Rocky Mount is the halfway point between Raleigh, where I previously moved here from, and Washington, which is my birthplace and home. So this is the halfway point. And Rocky Mount has a lot to offer. I really like the people here. I work well with the community. We just have a lot of different things to do here in Rocky Mount.
Well, I know Javelin has helped out with different chamber events, tons of different events out at the mills. You also helped with our small business celebration last year, so we're glad to add him to the lineup of businesses that can win that award. And I think you're known very well for customer service. He has wonderful reviews online. You do delivery.
Yes.
So if you have any type of needs, personal, commercial, business-wise, everybody loves to get some flowers. I know I do. So please think of Javelin when you have any types of needs, again, corporate or personal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Javelin, I have not been in your shop, but boy, when I walked in here, it was like, wow, this is just gorgeous.
Thank you.
You get credit for everything in here, right? I mean, these are all your creations?
This is my creations. I designed it. I have the eye and the vision for it. So it is my creation. But I do have a team that, you know, we work together. I give them bits and pieces of the project, of my vision and creativity, so that I can move on to the bigger picture.
Well, I'd like to hear about how you got into this business. Like, you grew up in Little Washington. Did you know from an early age that you had this talent or this interest, or how did it evolve?
I didn't know I had this talent. What evolved was I was in my godmother's shop being on a punishment from being suspended from school.
We were all punished.
And so it was something that I grew into. So when I went back to school, she just kept me there every afternoon, and so I had to work there in the afternoon until I finished school, and so, which is a blessing, because I wouldn't have never gotten the basic down pat. So I was learning the basic, and I grew up there and worked there and learned the basic. Then I eventually moved to Greenville, which is how I ended up in Rocky Mount. I was working at Denny's restaurant, and Otis Jordan happened to come there. That's when Payphones was there, and he needed some change, and I was the host on duty, and I saw he had an order pad with one of the wire services of the associations in our industry, and he offered me a job to Rocky Mount, and so I came to Rocky Mount in 1996.
Well, and did you start off Secret Garden 1? Was you were a solo entrepreneur? I mean, did you start that by yourself? Or?
We started Secret Garden 2 actually, Secret Garden 1 actually with some partners back in 2003. And the partnership resolved in 2004, and I remained the owner of Secret Garden through its entirety, which I closed it in 2005, and when the economy kind of crashed after 9/11. So after I didn't want to sell the name, I offered many offers for the business, but I didn't want to sell it, so I just closed it and moved to Raleigh. And I said I'd rather just save my name and dignity and maybe start back when I'm older.
Well, and I hope that through the pandemic things have been okay, or pretty okay. People are still passing away, unfortunately, and not so many weddings, but
Yes, the pandemic has not affected us, but on one end of it affected us in the wedding industry and event industry. So the weddings are scaled back smaller, which is kind of a good thing because sometimes it can get overwhelming. But they're scaled back a little smaller, and the funerals are always funerals, but they're different this time. But people are sending more flowers now.
Oh, good.
People are sending more flowers than they have ever before. As it reminds me of when I first started in the 80s, that people would actually send flowers to funerals and send flowers to people's birthdays because they couldn't be there. So we're back to that.
Oh, good.
So it reminds me of that era.
And you've got delivery people certainly in Rocky Mount
Yes.
who can take
Yes.
and deliver them with masks on and whatnot.
Yes.
I have to say, when I looked at this, I thought, wow, when I die, this is heaven on earth. I mean, this is just how I've envisioned beauty. I'm so in awe of that you can do that. I don't have that gift, and so to see that someone can provide the fabrics, the ribbons, I mean, it just, when somebody comes in, do you just listen intently to what they say and then come back with a design that meets what you heard them from their input?
Yes, I listen to the small detail part of what their conversation is, and I take it from there. And most of the time, they trust my judgment on it.
Well, they should.
Because they always, once they walk in, they're just in awe.
Yeah.
You know, so they like, well, it's not a doubt that this guy can't do the job. I mean, look at the store. And so most of the people, you know, it's funny to say, even when they come in for bereavement, they just look, they just take in the store and just be really amazed at the creativity and things.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm looking at all like lamps and containers and whatnot. So you are way more than just a florist, not just a florist, but way more than a florist. Do you go to trade shows and buy stuff, and what more services do you offer people besides flowers?
We do a lot of interior designing, and we do custom designing. I work with clients that's picking out fabrics and different furniture and mirrors and lamps and accessories for their homes. We can go in and look at a room and kind of redesign it and bring it up to date without changing the whole entire room.
Do you use many artificial flowers? I mean, I can look at these and I can't tell. Well, artificial flowers are really prettier than they ever were.
We do a lot of artificial, which I tend to call them permanent botanicals because they are
like
permanent. They're done custom because I learned from the first time that you have all these arrangements. My store is different than most traditional flower shop. It's done custom. Everything is custom order, custom design, one-on-one conversation, one-on-one service with the client. So the client, when they walk away, they know what they're going to be getting. They know that the brand is there, that they're going to get a one-of-a-kind. So with the permanent botanicals, we do go out and do a site visit as to where it's going so that we're not wasting materials. So because the permanent botanicals I use are some of the higher end botanicals, so that when we buy them, we can't have that kind of waste.
Right.
Once you cut it, you can't really put it back that much. So we have to watch that.
Well, even your containers. I haven't seen containers like this. I mean, you really have an eye. I almost get them, unless somebody pulls you back, you have a real flair for the wow factor.
Yes.
Is that kind of your signature?
Yes, that's it.
Uh-huh.
I want to always make a stampede. When I've done it, I want it to be known that it's been done.
Not that people just pass over, oh, that's nice, they have flowers here. Oh my gosh.
It draws you to it. It's a little integral detail that's in the arrangement or the design that wants to draw it, and that's something that you have to have, is a lot of depth in arrangements and details to make that eye look down into that arrangement, to make it, you know, to capture the focal point. Before, in the early 80s, we used to design a little different. Everything was round and structured, but now it's kind of wisp and loose and free-flowing, so it's not that structured design anymore.
And I want to let everybody know that in the second part of the show, he is going to create for us, so you absolutely don't want to miss that. But do a lot of people come in, and I'm an example of this, and say, I don't know what I want. Here is the event, here is the space, help me. And can you take it from there and really create from the ground up for people who just desperately need help because they have no talent whatsoever?
Yes, I do run into some of those type of people that, and that's a good thing. They have strengths in other areas. So sometimes they don't have the eye or the passion for design, and that's something that you have to have. That's a talent and a gift. So with that being said, I sort of take it from there. I take the element of design, how the space is laid out, the structure, how the bricks or the wood or how the design of the room is, and then you create textures. So the textures is very important that would go into the arrangement. That's what really is important with some of the arrangements, texture. And
what are most people sending? You said you've seen a big uptick in that people are sending flowers, which is so nice.
I kind of encourage people to send things that the family can take back home, like a nice vase that they can enjoy, and other things sort of that nature that they can take home, plants that they can put in the yard and garden later on and make nice memories of the loved one, so that it's not just thrown into the landfill.
And you, we were talking during a break, and you were telling me that you like to recycle flowers. Tell us of some of your wonderful volunteer work with what you do with flowers once they're no longer needed or used and whatnot, how you brighten other people's lives.
Like if a family is long distance or something, and most times during COVID time, we have done this for a lot of families. We have taken the casket spray and we have broken down and recycled them into smaller vessels of flowers that the family can actually take back to Maryland or Florida or whenever they're traveling, and that they can have something to smell. If you look on my some of my reviews, one of my customers posted that she still has memories of her mother because she was able to take those vessels that I've taken her mother's spray apart and put into small components, and she was able to load them all up and take them back to Maryland and New York.
And you work with a group in Raleigh sometimes, and tell us what you do to help there.
I teach a group of ladies. The organization is called the Flower Shuttle. The Flower Shuttle is one of my volunteer services that we do, and what we do is we gather every Tuesday of the month, every Tuesday during the month, and we recycle flowers. We take them apart, and those flowers are given out to locations like hospice, domestic violence, cancer patients, just sometimes they carry them to the nursing homes and different places that people can normally receive flowers, that wouldn't get flowers, can receive flowers.
That's really, really nice. How's your pipeline of receiving flowers? Have you been able to get them just as easily during this pandemic, or has there been any hold up?
In the beginning, we had some issues because when COVID did happen, everything was at a freeze. So all the flowers that did come in, we didn't know much about it, so they was discarded because a lot of events was canceled, and a lot of. I've just looked at some of the, our association feed, where the fields were just tons and tons and tons of flowers just thrown.
Oh.
And it happened all over California, New York, Florida, because events was canceled. Now that we can't have them but to a certain level, the farmers and growers are losing big time because they already scheduled that growth for the mass production.
I'm hearing a need to say, if you can send flowers, do. Help support small business. And was it a difficult, to people going in business is a big leap of faith.
Yes.
For you to do that as an entrepreneur, was that something that you had to really think about, or you just knew it was the right thing for you?
Well, I thought about it considerably, and I knew it was time. I knew it was time. I had freelanced for a couple companies, and I was kind of ready to do things my way and do it the way I design, and I had the knowledge, and I did most of the designing for major event companies. I was some of the lead designers on those event companies, so I knew if I had what it took to work for them, I had what it takes to work for me. And
you have expanded from this original location. Tell us about that.
We outgrew this space. We started here in 2017 with this being our display and workroom, and We expanded to the next door, which is the 111 building, which is the former K restaurant building. And we expanded over there, and that's where our design studio and flowers are kept.
And that's where we're going.
Yes.
And you're going to create something for us. Well, as I look around, I mean, you just, you have combined various elements in such a gorgeous way, and I just,
Thank you.
I really encourage people to come down. I've noticed people walk by and look in, and you probably have good walk-in traffic because you're right near, is it
La
Remus coffee shop. Jesse's going to remodel the old May and Gorham building, and Edgecombe Community College is right across the street. So
Yes.
you're in a growing traffic area.
Yes, it's going to be the 5 Points area, which is the 5 Points area, which is just going to be expanded and bring some more life to downtown.
And if people want to call you and order flowers, which we encourage them to do,
Yes.
they can look up the Secret Garden 2.
Yes.
It'll pop right to you. So great.
Yes.
Well, we're going to get videos of a lot of the beautiful things here. And boy, I bet just one more thing before we break and go next door and let you.
Okay.
I bet Christmas. This is a fairyland. I mean, is that one of your
Christmas.
favorite times of year?
It used to be.
Uh-huh.
Well, it still is because my birthday is during that time of the year. And it's just a beautiful season. I can't say that it's not. We start so early in October, so
In October.
we have to, because of the clients and the businesses and the homes that we do, we have to get our showroom and our studio done no later than October 15th.
And so do
because-
businesses hire you and homeowners hire you to come and to help decorate
Yes.
their houses?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, and that's how I ended up really back in this area, because I had a lot of clients here that I was coming here to do their homes throughout the year. And so we still do that, and we just do it throughout Eastern North Carolina in the Triangle. Servicing
Well,
homes.
good. So you're getting some of that triangle money and bringing it to Rocky Mount. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Great. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will watch you create. Thank you,
Okay,
Javelin.
thank you. Okay.
Javelin, welcome back. I feel like we are in a secret garden because I need to kind of, and if this gets in front of me, that is no problem whatsoever.
Okay.
We're all about you. Before we start, though, you were sharing exciting news that you get calls from all over. I mean, because of your website and the creations.
Yes.
It's been a real joy to you to see the people who reach out to you because they like what you do. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's real rewarding when you see that people actually acknowledge great work and my work in particular, because for a long time I was in the background for a lot of times, and to see people really have a knack or a interest in buying my product, it makes me feel good. So we had like people all over, like New York and Wisconsin and Atlanta, Georgia. They call and they said, we looked at everybody's sites and we looked at everybody, but we really like the work that you do. We actually can see pictures and we actually can see the look, and these are the type of flowers that we like.
Wonderful. Wow. And we're going to show you've got two gentlemen over here creating, I think, something for a funeral, and we'll show that in just a little bit too. But first, what are we going to do? What are you making?
We have we do restaurant orders every week, and we have businesses like Bin and Barrel, and we have Prime Smokehouse and Nabs, and we do different businesses that order weekly flowers to go into the business. We do Larimas. And so this is one of the centerpieces that will go out this week. And so what we're starting out with more of our natural greens. We do more natural greens here than we do in, anyway, you want to kind of get your base going. And
A big variety of different
yes,
greens.
yes.
And
That's
they're
important.
in water, so will they hold
Yes.
up for a whole week? Or
They'll hold
how
up for a whole week. Flowers love water, so that's the main thing. I like to do more natural water vases than do foam work, because it the foam kind of stops the life sometimes because it gets the vascular system in flowers. So you want to kind of use natural water. And what this is doing is we're just creating a grid. What the grid is called in design is it creates the flowers, give them somewhere to stay stable. So in transportation, anybody can take this and it won't get shifted. So that's very important. So what I'm building right now is the grid, which is the way that the flower would be done in that vase.
And do you need to change out the water at a certain time, or just keep adding to it?
I change my water and recut my stems, because the water source, once bacteria forms, it gets in the water, it shuts off the life of that flower. It's just like getting a bad, report from a doctor. We all get life, elements. So
I love your analogy.
and so,
Good.
so once it goes in there, and if it gets in the vascular system, that's what shortens the life of the flower. So it's good to keep the vase clean, recut the stems, change the water out. If you do that twice or 3 times, your flowers last longer. Most people that receive flowers, they take them home and they just leave them in that one spot. That flower is not going to live because you haven't done anything to give it its nutrients.
And you're kind of skimming a little bit of the
Yes,
stalk too,
I'm
aren't you?
skimming this because if the water travels this way, each individual item has to drink. So what that does is that cuts off them from drinking, so that the flower can, the water and the nutrients can travel to the head of this flower, and that flower won't die. So it's very important, and then it also keeps the bacteria from forming into your vase, because once this get bacteria, then that gets kind of germy and the flowers don't live.
It gets kind of gooey
Gooky
in there,
and
and
smelly
gooky
and slimy.
You're getting ready to work with the local garden club too, sometime
Yes,
soon, aren't you?
yes. We're going to do the local garden club. We have a couple events lined up with organizations here in town. We do a lot of organization work. That sort of gives back to the community. I like to have a presence in the community and always sharing new ideas with people.
And I know you've done flowers for Go Red, some of the sororities in town, Downey's Partnership. I mean, you really,
Yes,
you
the
do a
chamber.
lot for us. You
Yes,
really do. Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. So this is, now you're adding the color. You got
Yes.
the base from the greenery.
What I'm adding now is this is what we call your line flowers. What the line flower does, it creates a line that the eye actually sees. And so you want to create that line. That's how your eye is following that line.
And
Right
where
there.
would this particular vase with the height and stuff it has, where would that go?
It'll be good on like buffet arrangements on the buffet line. Where this one will go, it sits on the ledge at Prime Smokehouse. And we sit those on the ledge, and it creates the arrangement for the atmosphere of the restaurant.
Do you have any tips for people if they're having people over to eat? I always avoid having something that makes it so you can't see people across the table from you and stuff. How do you allow for that?
Well, you can still use this sort of concept.
you can see
Where
under
this
it.
idea came from is it creates the balance of the room. If you're in a large room, then you need scale and balance. So you don't want something small on the table because you got all this open space. So all the room looks boring on one level. So that's where this design concept came from. Some high, some low, some medium, so that it balanced. That's with design. So you have to be a really good designer to know balance and scale.
That's why
That's
they need to
important.
call you and get your input.
Yes, that's
Well,
important.
and something tall like that too on a table, you can see around it and whatnot. I mean, it
yes.
doesn't block the
Yes,
vision
it doesn't
too.
block. That's why they was really, the trend for it was still around, because you can have the conversation around the table. And most people talk now, if you look at it, you don't talk across the table. Most people talk to the person next to
Beside
them.
'em.
Yes.
And the combination, how are you determining the combination of different flowers you're putting in there?
The combination is, we always have, if you're a designer, if you have the schooling or education of basic floral design, you're taught your line flowers and your mass flowers and filler flowers, which is important that you know those flowers. These are some garden roses that I had brought in this week for upcoming events. So we had those to come in, and they opens up like that. So
Yeah,
the rose like that.
Do you have like regular trucks coming in bringing these flowers in cooler
We do
trucks?
have, I buy a lot of local things. I try to support
good.
small businesses, like the wholesalers that I buy from. One is from Little Washington, one is from Gardner, some are in Raleigh, but we still support local small businesses. I try to do the mom and pop stores, you know, because I know
You're one.
Yes, I know
Yeah.
how it feels to build small businesses and to start it and see the generations of people that have kept the business going.
Before we run out of time, tell us about these two gentlemen. Are they?
These are my two. These my team. That we have Greg and we have Paul. Paul
Y'all
been
want to
with
wave?
me.
Say hey.
Paul been with me a year and a half, and Greg been with me. He come out of nursing, so he's been with me probably about 6 months now. And so he been with me 6 months. And so what we're working on is a sympathy piece, which will be the initials of the deceased.
Okay.
And
They're lovely.
we have like the letter B, which is the first one. And then her last name starts with a T. And this would be her spray for her casket.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Wow.
This is what we
Wow.
sort of I did
And
that
then you
one for
would
her.
break down that and send it home
Yes,
with family members.
Yes,
So-
we send them. We do a six vase tier like this, where we send 6 vases in a wine bag, and we put the little water so at the cemetery they can have something to take home.
Sure.
It's
That
just
is-
another service we offer instead of it just sitting out there and then 2 or 3 days later it gets thrown. And I don't want families to feel like they're wasting money buying
Yeah.
flowers, because you only receive flowers so many times in your life. So we want to keep people continuing buying flowers and enjoying them.
And I love that people from all over, I mean, this I think they said is going to Durham or something like
Durham,
that.
yes.
So it's wonderful that here in Rocky Mount, your business is
yes.
being recognized.
Yes.
Here, they're jumping over Raleigh going to Durham from Rocky Mount. Way
Yes.
to go.
Yes, this shop gonna put Rocky Mount on the map.
Okay,
For
well,
events and interiors and different things that we like to do.
absolutely. Well, Javelin, I want to say once again, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So well deserved. And we are really thrilled that you live right here in Rocky Mount, that you chose us. And so, folks, we need to choose him because he is just a real gem in this community. And I just highly encourage people to give you a call. So thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.